Hey, so I'm going to review this Atlantis leverage linkage row, and this is the version with the swivel handles. So it's called the D-437 back. This is the slightly newer version, which has rounded tubing. The older version, like my fixed row, has square tubing, so you could kind of call it like the precision line, but there's square tubing that predates even precision. So this is not precision, it's not square, it's rounded tubing. You can see that it has a linkage arm right here, and then you have your 4-bar linkage. So it has right there the frame, right there the coupler. So you can see from this angle that there is a little bit of divergence, not a whole ton, so it's not entirely super straight, but there is an angle for divergence. I'll see if I can measure that later. You can basically tell the difference from this front crossbar here compared to the back crossbar is a little longer than this front one. May be hard to tell, but I'll get some measurements in a bit after trying some sets out. And this version also has weight horns built in. The oldest version fixed handle I have doesn't have any weight horns, and I believe the L handle, so this is a D handle, you can see shaped like a D. The L handle, I believe, may not have the weight storage as well, but there may be some versions that do have it. But anyways, that's just like extraneous stuff. Let's see how it actually moves. Let's get a diagonal angle first. So the chest pad here, it has, looks like 8 adjustments. So this would be all the way out. You know, probably another 8 inches or so. So you would have to have like another 16 inches of reach on me for you to max this out, I believe. And my own reach is 69 inches. Fingertip to fingertip, so 16 on top of that, so 85 or so inch reach for you to be maxing it out, plus or minus a couple inches. I would probably have it at my 69 inch reach, probably have it in the 5 setting, yeah. And then as for the seat, there are, I believe, also 8 settings, but the issue, 8 or 9, maybe more settings, but the issue is that the gas assist in here is actually broken for now, so I need to actually take out the shock and replace it with a new one, so I can adjust it. So this is gonna be a kind of a janky review impressions video, because I can't adjust the seat down for me to hit a better angle for my upper back, my delts and my rhomboids. So this is mostly going to be for like a lateral focused row. Woo, that's good. Oh, dude, that shit was pretty good. So my first impressions is that the drop-off feels pretty good. It doesn't feel too much in my opinion, and it definitely feels a lot heavier at the very beginning in the lengthened position. We'll do a little bit of chatting here, but basically from the side view, you can tell this is the pivot point for the lever arm, the moment arm here. And since the weight horn here is elevated above this pivot point by a little bit, basically you can tell that it will only ever drop off as you go through the movement. And then you can see the angle right here between the we would call this the driver. So from here to there, that would be the driver. From here to here is the coupler. Here's the follower. The driver coupler angle right here, it's obtuse, and it'll get more acute towards 90. So I believe it actually gets less mechanical advantage as you pull backwards. And this is getting closer to 90, so it's acute getting closer to 90. So this will gain mechanical advantage. So the actual calculations may vary a little bit, but essentially this linkage may slightly offset each other. What else? So you have the pulling angle. So the pulling angle at the very beginning, it's like this. So very close to full transfer of force. And then at the end, it's more obtuse angle, so less transfer of force. So the advantage you get at the end will be a little less as well compared to the very beginning, where you're more focusing your force into pulling this input arm here. What else? Okay, that's it for the physics for now. I think another thing to talk about is the arm path that you're pulling. You start out high, you come down, like it peaks a little bit and then it starts coming back down. So at the very end, you're getting your elbow pretty nice and low towards your body. So it swings down a little bit, your elbow path, versus keeping your elbows high. So since you're keeping your elbow path down low, it's hitting your lats a lot better. You're tucking your elbows in to closer to your sides, and you're having a lot of shoulder adduction compared to abduction for your upper back. Somebody put extra, looks like blocks on top of the start and stop, so maybe those can be taken off so you can have even extra range, it looks like. You can see right here, there's like extra blocks here. Not too sure why they did that, but I'm okay with it for now. Lowering that will just make the beginning of the movement a tiny bit harder. I don't think it would be a significant amount. Let me check the angle of this thing right now. Okay. So it looks like it's at a 14-degree angle or so. Right now with the blocks, with the non, it would probably be closer to a 10-degree angle or so without the extra blocks that whoever put on top of it. So you would have, sign of 90, or sign of 80 would be the full unadulterated resistance that you get at the very beginning without those extra blocks. With the extra blocks, it just becomes a sign of 75 at the very beginning. Let's get a side angle just to see the actual full drop-off degree. I'll try bilateral this time too. So for bilateral, since you're having less range of motion, your chest is more glued to the chest pad, you can do less rotational of your torso. Because of that, you have less range of motion, so there'll be a little bit less drop off as well compared to doing unilateral like this, where the drop off will be a lot, probably significantly more. And the drop-off will also be significantly more because the drop-off actually accelerates towards the end as the angles get closer and closer to 90 degrees versus at the very beginning. So 10-degree change at the very beginning compared to a 10-degree change at the very end, there's a much greater difference at the end than at the very beginning. So a couple of things to talk about here is that one is that I have the machines elevated off the ground about 3 inches due to the wheels, just for ease of moving it around. Because of the elevation and because I'm not a tall guy, I'm pretty short, it's hard for me to place my feet on the ground and actually brace. So what I'm actually doing is bracing on the frame instead. I feel like this machine is already missing that crucial thing, which is bracing along the frame, or bracing just in general, so a foot brace or something. But since it doesn't have that, I'll just have to end up doing it myself at some point in time, doing a mod, I believe. And what I'm thinking is having a footplate mod right here, just like sandwiching this frame, so non-permanent. Or maybe I could make it permanent because there are a lot of bolt holes here. But some type of mod where I don't have to drill into the frame. Just use existing holes or brace alongside, sandwiching the frame, and then having an adjustable depth for the footplate as well as adjustable angle. So I think something like that would be pretty cool and somewhat necessary, because without the bracing aspect, you feel kind of unstable. Yeah, so compared to another D-handle row that I have, which is the CXP row, plate loaded Bodymaster CXP row, that's also plate loaded and it also has D-handle. That one also has a unilateral handle near the chest pad adjustment pop pin, so that you can grip on with your other hand, brace against it, pull your chest into it, the chest pad. It doesn't matter, whatever you want to do. So that's really nice. This one has no unilateral handle, but the main thing to me is that the CXP has a foot plate, and it's a good distance for me. I'm short, probably not such a great distance for taller and taller people. That's why I want something that's more adjustable if I'm going to do a mod. And then foot plate angle also matters in my opinion. The Nautilus Explode row that I have, I put a chest pad mod and a unilateral handle mod on. The foot plate itself, it already has for bracing. In my opinion, that foot plate is very steeply angled, which is, on one hand, it can be good, but with so much of your hip flexion, so much of your hip bent. Let's say this is your torso right here, and then this is your leg or something. Because the foot plate is so steeply angled like this, you have to have your feet kind of like sticking right in front of you. With that bend in your back, it can cause some lower back fatigue. Kind of like doing a low row, even if it has chest support. It's still, you're sitting with your feet in front of you like that. It still causes some lower back fatigue. Versus these other seated mid rows where you're sitting more upright, your feet can be kind of downwards at an angle like this instead of like in front of you. So maybe a little bit less lower back fatigue with a foot plate like low and in front of you. Got a couple more sets, maybe one more. Unilateral. I'll try bracing with my feet on the ground. Yeah, I will agree that these swivel handles or rotating handles are really nice for keeping your wrist not cocked and aligned, your fist aligned with the rest of your forearm, so your wrist is pretty straight. Because with fixed handles, you can run into your wrist kinking up like this. So it does have that benefit, but definitely all this extra wiggle, makes the transfer of force a little less effective. Just in my opinion, compared to ideal fixed handles. And also the fixed handles can let you do like upper back rows. Let me see if I can do like an upper back row with this seat position. It's a little funky. It's pretty funky because the angle of pull is always going to be inwards, even if you want to keep like a high elbow abduction, so away from your body line, it's still wanting to pull your wrist inwards and actually kinking at the same time. So in my opinion, pretty subpar for upper back rows. Even if my seat were aligned, with the right height and everything like that, I would still be like getting pulled inwards, trying to bring my elbow up high. My wrist would still be like kinking inwards to trying to, the line of force is just not there. Yeah. Compared to a fixed handle where it's already up like this, even if there is, convergence, divergence, even if there is convergence, divergence, you're still able to not have the same amount of like wrist kink and trying to force your elbow flare, because the machine already has the handle in that position. You just kind of turn off your brain and start pulling. So this requires a lot more intentionality and technique to work upper back if you're going to use the swivel handles compared to fixed. That's why I'd rather just do fixed. It's just more versatile. But if you have enough space for a ton of different things, why not get something that's dedicated to doing a lat focus row like this with swivel handles, and then maybe something else that can do a delt upper back rhomboid focus row with, fixed handles or something like that, or wide and high swivel handles. Yeah, that's my quick initial impression. Good drop off. What else? A little bit of divergence. Not a whole ton, but a little bit. These angles are not exactly 90 right there, so there's a little bit of divergence, and I don't want it to diverge too much if I'm trying to hit my lats, because then it'll become like the Atlantis / Nebula platelet row, where it's just way too much divergence, probably because the handles start out pretty wide already.